So it's just a couple days until the new streaming service Disney Plus launches, and I thought I'd make a quick little video talking about what I'm looking forward to seeing and what I'm sad to not. To specify, I'm going off an article I read online that has the full list of what they're releasing, and I'm not going to cover everything, but for those who do want to know, I'll put a link in the article in the description box below, so let's quit stalling and get right to it. So since this is a Disney-owned product and they seem to claim quite a lot of properties, you're going to be seeing some ranging from Disney Animation to Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, and even Fox. And that also includes the entirety of The Simpsons. Now I know some people are saying I could just watch the whole series on Kiss Cartoon, but frankly I don't always want to unless I'm like really desperate to watch. And they have the whole series, which is a plus because not only are the DVDs a little more pricey than I'd hoped, but also when it was streaming on Hulu they only included the last couple of seasons, so there was almost nothing to watch. Well, unless you like watching this shit. Not even kidding when I say that's one of the most cringiest things I've ever seen in animation. And for those who are part of my generation, there's also going to be a handful of classic mid-2000s Disney Channel sitcoms, like Zack and Cody, Phil the Future, Lizzie McGuire, That's So Raven, and much like Drake and Josh, they are not the greatest shows in the world, but they truly spark a notion of nostalgia, and thus making it much more enjoyable. Not to mention classic Disney animated shows like Kim Possible, Goof Troop, Darkwing Duck, DuckTales, Tailspin, you name it. However, I am gravely disappointed that this streaming service does not include Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, Brandy and Mr. Whiskers, and Dave the Barbarian. Those are the key shows in my life when I was a kid, and it really saddens me they couldn't include that. They couldn't even include the Buzz Lightyear movie by itself, even without the TV series. But to balance that out, they're including shows based on their animated classics, like Timon and Pumbaa, The Little Mermaid, Hercules, Emperor's New School, and I am more than ecstatic for Lilo and Stitch the series, because that's one of the few shows I would watch every day just to talk about it with my friends at school the next day. I loved it so much. Also because Lilo and Stitch is one of my favorite Disney animated movies of all time, and I love all the movies. It's just one of my favorite Disney franchises ever. Not to mention, I'm also a big fan of the Winnie the Pooh franchise, and I'm more than happy to not only have every movie, but also the New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh series, and, if I'm saying this correctly, the complete series of The Book of Pooh, which in America was only released a few episodes on DVD and a few extra in Europe, but if we actually get the whole series, that will mean so much good news for me. And for those of a certain generation like me, yes, there will be a handful of Disney Channel original movies ranging from Wendy Wu Homecoming Warrior, the Sweet Life movie, the Xenon trilogy, but I am still very disappointed in one aspect. Why is it every chance Disney Channel gets to show off their content that my generation will eat up like crazy, they refuse to show the one film I remember so vividly, My Date with the President's Daughter? I mean, I personally can't complain because I was given a bootleg DVD copy as a birthday gift once, but why deny the viewing liberty for everyone else? The only other way to watch it would be to download it or to watch it on VHS, and from what I'm seeing, the VHS costs about... Oh my goodness! So that's another sad takeaway from this. But if we can turn our heads away from traditional Disney for a minute, I'm also looking forward to other properties like the Marvel and Star Wars universe. I already own all the Star Wars movies on Blu-ray, but I can't wait to get back into the Clone Wars TV show, although it's unclear if they had any plans to release the Tartakovsky series, which I also own, but it would be nice to have on streaming anyways. Not to mention the release of the Disney Plus original The Mandalorian, all about Boba Fett, which apparently also features Bill Burr. That alone is worth the price of admission. Not to mention there's going to be a lot of originals on the app too, including a live-action remake of The Lady and the Tramp, which makes me think that Disney would dump most of their smaller productions on this app. But I'm also really excited for the actual sequel series to Monsters Inc. titled Monsters at Work, which features all of the original cast. I've been saying for years that we are in desperate need of a Monsters Inc. sequel. Not that the unnecessary prequel Monsters University was bad, but I didn't see much of a point to it existing in the first place. But I'm also a big fan of Spider-Man, and I'm glad they're including a handful of the different Spider-Man TV shows, except for Spectacular Spider-Man, which I haven't seen yet, but I've heard nothing but great things about. But instead, they make way for the weird-ass Spider-Man and his amazing friends, which, if you've seen it, Feels like one of those weird Hanna-Barbera crossovers nobody really asked for. But also, if you're one of those underground Tron fanatics like me, you'll get everything you want. You get Tron, Tron Legacy, and the TV series Tron Uprising featuring Elijah Wood, which I've wanted to see for a long time. The few people I know who have seen it claim it's better than Legacy, which I can hope I can see the same way. Not to say I didn't like Legacy, as the visuals were really nice and the soundtrack was kick-ass, but a lot of the story and characters were lacking, but that's for another day. And the last thing I'll mention is the Muppets. Thankfully, they include most of the Muppet movies, but sadly there's nothing I'm reading about Muppets Take Manhattan or Muppets from Space, which I guess are still owned by Sony, but that doesn't excuse the fact that there's no streaming option for the Muppet Show, which doesn't even have a complete DVD release, as only 3 out of 5 seasons were given that. Like, dude, if my Disney movie points can earn me to buy the DVDs, you should also have the ability to allow streaming. I mean, they'll include the 2016 ABC series, but again, why not Muppet Show? Do they think we don't care anymore? They get to stream the current incarnation of the Muppet Babies, but not the foundation that started the Muppets and their Kickstarter in the first place? Some questions I'll never know the answer to. So that about wraps up a small handful of my thoughts for Disney+. Maybe I was nitpicking a bit, as I was being spoiled so much that I only wanted more, but I am happy with what they're deciding to show, and more so. So yeah, once Disney+ launches, let's do our best to enjoy it. So take it easy and have a good day.